Real recognize real, and only gets realer from here. Now, in today's topic, we're going to be discussing surrounded by enemies, 100 ways, you guys, with the Pisces mindset. Building. Also want to give a shout out to all my 2 2s and my 3 3s, and my 2 2 2s and my 3 3 3s, and my 7 7 7s. And shout out to any other angelical numerical numbers that I may forgot to mention. Also, I want to thank everybody for coming out, support the channel. Thank you. And those of you, yeah, I said that already. But yeah, anyway, so gonna be talking about surrounded by enemies part 1. Okay. Now, when you're dealing with, how can I say this? Okay, so when you're dealing with enemies, sometimes you may think that you're really surrounded by enemies. Welcome, Thomas Faye. What's going on? Pisces gang. We're in the building. So this is a series, you guys. And yeah, I feel like every day is a battle. Okay, we as Pisces, we just not fighting every battle. Excuse me, y'all. Still got my work thing on. But yeah, we're not just fighting like every battle, because it's like some battles is not for you to fight. You got to use strategy. So that's why I say pretty much the one that remains calm in the situation is usually the one that wins. What's going on, Ronnie Boo? Welcome. And I feel like sometimes when you are in a situation when you're dealing with enemies, they will usually gang up on you. Like, let's say, especially if they're all in the same spot. So let's say you have one enemy, and then all of a sudden, let's say you already had 2 from long ago. It seems like your enemies always try to get like information on you, which is considered power. If it's used correctly, it's all about the actions of how you use the information that you get. But enemies tend to study you and learn you through other enemies. So that's why sometimes they may oftentimes reach out to one another and say, yo, you are the X, or hey, I see that you know, I see that you know such and such, and hey, I just want to ask you what happened between you two. And then they end up, revealing the fact that, oh, they don't like you either. And then they end up, becoming cool with each other in order to use that as leverage against you. See? So, but you got to understand that it's all about them trying to gang up on you because they're insecure. They realize just how strong you are, and they know that they can't do it themselves. They know that you see through most of the illusions that they give off, that they know that they can't break you because of your strong influence. So that's why I say you got to have the Pisces mindset, because it's going to be easy for people to trigger you. As soon as you are confronted by enemies, you have to look at them as opportunities, not enemies. Because if you change your perspective, even though you feel like, let's say you feel presently like them there, and knowing that they are, just knowing you are outnumbered, you got to understand that you've used that situation as all of the people that are involved, you use it as opportunity. See, because now it's all about strategy. It's all about what you got to think in such a way like, okay, well, what can I do? What can I do with all these enemies? What information can I get? And hey, even though they're working against me, this is the perfect time. See, because listen, they're all trying to basically figure you out. See, and they are ultimately looking for a reaction from you. See, and that's the thing. Like, your enemies are already envious. See what I'm saying? They already are jealous Let me see. Thomas Faye said, for whatever reason, my work relationship with Gemini is not the best, and I'm a Pisces. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, usually in this world, I'll say this, in this world, you're not going to be liked by everybody. You're not going to always, get along with everybody. But that's why I said you got to form alliances, knowing that they are temporary, knowing that they are not, always guaranteed friendships. But in order to not reveal your weaknesses, in other words, by being alone, because that's the thing with like winning a war, you can't win a war alone. So that's why I said, like, it's better to form alliances with people that you know that support you, see, that have your back at least. And those are the people that you want to form, bonds with, even if it's not guaranteed that it's going to be a forever thing, see. But it's like, you always want to see, I'm going to tell you why, because most of the time people tend to be, like I said, they become friends with your enemies in order to work against you. So it's like what you do is you develop and make small alliances. They don't see that, oh, you have alliances, you have a social group. Do they think that, oh, you're by yourself? If they all gang up on you, they think you're going to be somewhat vulnerable to them. So instead, the secret is they don't even know who else you know, see? And they don't see those alliances you make, and you only bring them around at the opportune time, see? Because it's like this. Let's say I'm surrounded by enemies. Let's say like I got 20 people that are against me, and then they end up trying to form a group to go against the target. So it's like, little would they know is that, well, the number one rule, never underestimate your enemy, because never underestimate your enemy, because it's a possibility they're not alone. See, you might think they're alone because that's the expectation. You think that, hey, if I'm friends with all their enemies, you think that you will have an upper hand, but not necessarily. See, that's why I say never stop forming networks, never stop forming allies. Alliances is like this. See, alliances are like this. If you let's say you even form an alliance with 2 people. I remember back in the day when I used to get bullied at school, I remember having the Pisces mindset was that it wasn't safe for me to walk home from school, okay? And I would get bullied, I was get jumped after school, all kind of stuff used to, happen, to where I started realizing that if I make allies, see, I could literally have someone walk with me home, or at least get me halfway home so I can like get in the house safely. But what I did was I made, see, and this is why I know this is real and it's so freaking true. So what I did was I started paying attention to one of the people that would take the same way that I would take home. So something told me to, hey man, get to know him. Hey man, talk to him and see, like, oh man, talk about something. We talk about comic books, whatever it was. And then once we got cool, it was like, oh man, you take the same way I take. But see how I used that situation as a strategy way ahead of time, even though it's like I knew he would take the same way and he was of size. I'm like, okay, if I get cool with him, then he's of size, so it ain't like we just 2 little munchkins walking home from school. I'm like, he look like he'll really whoop somebody, and you know what I mean? So I'm like, hey, let me get cool with him, because now strength in numbers. If I at least walk home from school with like 2 or 3 people, even if it's just to walk home from school, that's an alliance. See, it's like you're not alone. So what you want to do is build alliances to where you always have somebody around you. You're never alone, so it's harder for the enemy to just get to you, because now they got to go against 4 or 5 others. And now once you guys are even in the amount of people, it's like, yeah, it's 5 of y'all and it's 5 of us. Now nobody want no smoke, because now, oh, we can't get to the initial target because he has 5 people. Remember, it's all about strength. It's all about strength in numbers. It's all about how many people, even if it's an illusion. even if you absolutely like I said, the alliance could be temporary. It's just to walk home from school. It's not, oh, it's not like we're cool forever. But how does it look to the enemy? The enemy studies you. So think about it. The first thing they see is, damn, he always with like 20 people. Don't matter if that's just 20 little, you know, just 20 associates. It don't matter. See, it's the fact that you're not alone. You're not vulnerable. That's why I say people know. And I'm gonna tell you what that. I'm gonna tell you why you want to use that, because what this tends to do is it protects you, because people literally will start to have respect for you, because it's like, yo, it ain't no way we can really do nothing with this person. And then let you know you're thinking what, 5, 10 steps ahead. See? And another thing is that, see, what you want to do is you want to observe more. See, you want to observe more than you think about the whole situation. And you want to remain calm, because that's how you're able to see clearly what's happening beneath the surface. Let me see. Okay, so Thomas said, us Pisces are never alone with the spiritual realm, and we also have karma on our side. Facts. What's going on, Goldie? What's going on? Welcome. Yeah, we're talking about surrounded by enemies with the win by the Pisces mindset, because wow, you guys, the people are blowing it. But yeah, okay, so anyway, I don't know why the police is all behind me now, but yeah, I'm like literally in my damn car. But wow, I know y'all seen the police, but damn, I can't even ever record, man. This is always some bullshit with these people like bothering me, bro. I'm like literally, and it's so crazy, I'm using like the smallest of phones, but I feel like someone called the police to where it's like, yo, can I just do my live, man? What the hell? I could say if I'm like panhandling and like literally, if I was panhandling and I was just like outside and playing a guitar and like being a nuisance, then all by means the police could just pull up. But damn, man, every time I'm trying to like get a video done, I'm gonna have to start recording at home again, bro. This is getting out of hand, bro. What time is it? It's 8 o'clock, probably almost 8. Yeah, but anyway, okay, so okay, so let me see here. My fault, y'all. That kind of threw me off with this cop, this police officer. He was literally, I didn't even see him until I just, you know how you look over your shoulder and I just seen like the little lights from the police little, you know, vehicle. He's like really parked on my blind spot. I couldn't really see him unless I just really looked over there. And he was like really out my, I could see him out my back window, my right side back window. I'm like, yo, why is he just sitting there? I'm not doing nothing. I'm just sitting in the car. Like, I was just waiting on orders. But anyway, so yeah. Okay, so that's why I said I'm gonna do this as a series anyway, because it's like whatever I don't finish, I'll just, you know, continue off when I at my normal time, which is I'm not sure if y'all on the Eastern, but I'll be on usually like about 10 o'clock. But yeah, anyway, so okay, so what you don't want to do, I say this, never, when you're surrounded by enemies, never react, bro. Never be quick to do something just because you feel pressured, just because you feel tension. No, like literally hold off and just be calm. Just be calm, because what you want to do is you want to start to notice your enemies. Just as they're studying you, then you have to observe to find out their weaknesses. See? And even pay attention to who, what, when, where, how, and why are your enemies even trying you. See, why are they even trying to get at you? Especially if you realize that you have the same enemies that are constantly formulating and coming against you, where it's like you may feel like you guys get into it, and then it dies down, and then it's like they end up coming back at an opportune time, see, when they feel like they have something against you. But what I'm saying is what you want to do is you want to observe more than you speak. It's better for you to not react, don't respond, because if you respond, then that lets them know that they still have influence, they still have control over your emotions, and you don't want to show that. So what you want to do is you want to notice the patterns before you act on anything, see? Because it's always a pattern. If you ever watch your enemy, they always do something that is a pattern, see? Whether they call you, they ask for a favor, and this is just you just paying attention to the undercurrents. You're just paying attention through your intuition. You just peep the fact that, wow, every time, I'm in this situation like this person decides to call me, or they always, try to get me to do something, or they're always trying to ruin something at, a time where, I'm about to get a blessing, or, they try to, intervene some type of way. You want to watch actions, not words, because it's all about what a person does, not what a person says, because people can say what they're gonna do, whoop-de-woo, they can say all kinds of things, but seldomly actually act on it, okay? Because this is a thing. Always pay attention to the patterns of behavior, because yeah, people can promise you, they can promise things all day and not follow through. So it's like, that's why you just want to, focus on what is actually facts. See, now when you're looking at your enemies and studying their patterns of behavior, always pay attention to who benefits from your losses. See that? Like because you got to really find out what is your enemy's gain, what is their goal, and also their goal has to match up with the benefit. Like what are they getting? What is it? See, that's why I always say, like, what is it so bad that you really hate this person for? Like, what benefit are you getting from even, trying them? Because it's like, other than annoyance, what are you getting? It has to be worth it. But you got to know that sometimes you have to follow those incentives just to know, like, okay, what is their whole motivation, even trying me or going against me. And that's the thing about you and your plans of anything you got planned, keep it to yourself, keep it private, keep it a secret to yourself, because the less info that your enemy has, then that's the less interferences that you may experience with them. And that's the thing, or it's a bad habit today where people feel like telling everybody everything they're up to, which is a bad idea, because you can have people around you, and this is not to make you think that you have to behave, this doesn't mean you have to behave in such a way where you're paranoid and you're worried about somebody, doing something to you. But that is the whole true nature of life, is that you can't trust everybody that is around you, that comes, in your how can I say it? Just people around you, whether it be friends. The best, healthiest way to do it is to know that at any time they could walk away. See? But that's why you got to keep making alliances. That's why you keep getting to know people. You don't stop. It's like, the more people you know, the better, if that makes sense. Because you have to think in an abundance mindset, and you have to think that this could end tomorrow. This could be over with in 2 days. People like cannot be fully trusted just because of the options that they have. They might have better options. Yeah, they with you Monday, and then all of a sudden they leave. They find something better. See? Now, okay, so you got to find out who influences who. And that's the funniest thing, because think of it like this. Okay, in each camp in each camp, right, of friends or group of friends, right, there's always the ringleader, and then it's always the people under it, right? And each one has a role, each one has a rank, whether they actually, because put it like this, each one of them have a rank, but it might not be broadcast that way, but just you have to know that they have some sort of rank, because why does it always seem like the ringleader is the one that is doing mostly all the connecting, see, with your other enemies? The one that's doing all the work, the one that is actually, that's the one that really has the issue with you. But all the other people, they just don't have the strength to steer away from what? The influence, the relationship. See, because some people don't understand that just because you join forces with someone else's enemies doesn't mean you're safe. See, and some people think that, oh, if I'm cool with everybody that doesn't like this person, I'm safe. No, you're not. See, because that's the thing. You got to map the relationships. You can't just, everything's a strategy. If it wasn't, then if life wasn't about strategies, then I guess we all would be victims to illusions. See? And then thinking that we have to follow somebody else's lead constantly. No, you got to have, I always say this, like, you have to have an army within an army, if that makes sense. You don't have to broadcast it, but you should always start your own group within a group. See, but have it, do it on a more private level, not an open for everybody, not in the open for everybody else to know. But what you want to do is you want to start a group in a group. That way you are the leader. And it's like, if these people walk away, you've already established an alliance. See, now what you want to do as well is, when you look at yourself being surrounded by enemies, as I mentioned, you want to look at it, you want to look at everybody involved as opportunities. See, because pressure, really, put it like this, that pressure that you feel, that tension, is really power. See, that hasn't been obtained yet. Until you change your perspective on what you're actually dealing with and stop looking at it as you being surrounded by enemies, but change your perception, your perspective to, I'm surrounded by opportunities. See, that will literally change the whole fear of anxiety of, oh, I got all these people against me. And once you had that, you change your mindset to that Pisces mindset, is that, hey, I'm surrounded by opportunities. Now that puts you at ease. And why is that? Because now you're in control. See that? You're in control. So any way you want to do this, because think about it. Your enemies, they literally have put you first as their main focus over themselves. And that alone means they've already lost. They've already lost the war. It's up to you and what you do with it. See, why you think it could be 50,000 people against you, right? But if you remain calm and observe, see, if you're playing the game better than they are, it could be 100,000. They'll still lose because they don't know how to play the game like you. See, because listen, if you do something that you expected a reaction and you don't get that reaction, are you prepared? Are you prepared for that? What if that was all you was banking on? Then you're not even successful at that. Now, if I rise to the occasion where you underestimate me, who just won? See? Because then that person, they'll get quiet or run away because they had nothing, no defense against. They wasn't expecting you to pull what you pulled. Or let's just say no reaction. 9 times out of 10, when you don't give a reaction, you've already won. See? Because now the reason why is because you see through it. You see through their behavior. You got to get to a point where you predict what your enemy is going to do, what they're going to do next. And that's why I said form the alliances, because usually you could predict the outcome. Okay, this person is going to do this. So let me let me adjust. So I know as soon as they do exactly what I knew they were going to do, I'm already 10 steps ahead. See? So sometimes you could do, see, that's why I said life is like chess, because it's all about how you move through it. See? And when people don't know what you're doing when you move a certain way, it's like they don't know what you're doing. They don't know that, oh, he's moving this way, he's doing that, because they're so used to you doing what? They're so used to how you did them and what you did to somebody else that they're not expecting you to do. They're not expecting you to do something that what? It's not predictable. So that's why I say be unpredictable. Now, like I say, you want to always have clarity over emotions. So you always want, that's why I say you really got to know your enemy, study your enemy well, so you know exactly, how to read the energy shifts. So always pay attention to like tone and timing and consistency and whatnot. Let me see. How are you? What's it say? Libra. What is it? I thought, no, your name. Yeah. So I can't pronounce your name, but yeah, welcome. Okay, let me see. Said, real, do you think the ringleader like them for real, or are they just using them as pawns to do their dirty work? See, that's what you just said is right, because they're using the pawns. See, whoever gets influenced without having their own plan, see, of action, it's like, especially knowing that person is your enemy as well. See, so let's say the ringleader wants more information on the person that they don't like or whatever, and they know the person that you just broke up with, and let's say they got whiff of that. Now they think the person is more open to spilling the beans, or telling the business, the secrets and all that, right? So that's why, if you notice, as soon as you break up with someone and they instantly are cool with your other enemies, right? How did that happen? That's because the person literally came, they actually just met that person ASAP because they knew y'all was into it, just so they can get that information. Because that's what the power, so information is power. That's like powerful. So the more information you get on someone, that actually shows more about you. Okay. Your weaknesses and things that, hey, how was he? What didn't you like? What did you like? What did you guys used to do? How you met? They start to do this whole social back and forth of exchange of information. So then they end up taking that information. Now they start to, come up with something to try to use against you as a second attempt, based off of that information that they got from your ex, your friend, or whoever it was. But you got to be careful, as these people actually try to like watch you to where they're all in your business. They know, who you're dating, who you're married to. They actually get on Facebook and literally start to stalk, and they're all in your news. They're all in your, your feeds and all that. They're just watching like a hawk. As soon as they, come across some juicy gossip, you and your wife having issues, what are they going to do? They're going to DM them. Yep. They're going to DM them. Oh, hey, I saw your news feed. Yeah. Oh, you're so pretty. And yeah, they find a way to manipulate and get themselves involved to become friends or allies with your enemies. See, to use that against you as leverage. And then, it's crazy. That's how you end up finding people reveal their true colors by doing so, going along with it, not even knowing that they're being manipulated. See, because this person had no interest in you as long as everything was kosher with you and your mate, right? Until they realize that, something is wrong, something has happened. See, and then they play with these messy boundaries, and then they end up sucking the person into their mess. But who's to be blamed, and whose fault it is? Whose fault is it? It's your ex. See? Because they got into an emotional rage to where they start to, you know, trust the wrong person. And thinking that someone is actually hearing them out, giving them some type of support emotionally, they think that they're safe with those people. But as we know, the karma that sets in, and also people do not respect you just because you give up information. Because think about it. If you would break under pressure, or hey, you had a bad breakup and you just start to, you know, become friends with that person's baby mama or baby daddy, and it's like, oh, you just start just giving away the secrets, and you know, it's like, yo, now everything that your man or your girl said to you about not trusting you've shown your true colors. That's why I said to get them all in the same, get everybody together. That is an opportunity, because you find out information. So let's say like they wanted to talk to you, and they're like, yo, meet us at Starbucks, but you don't know that all your enemies are sitting in the car behind tinted windows the whole time listening. And then you having a one-to-one conversation with one of the little interviewers, because there's always a ringleader, then there's an interviewer. There's a person that everybody goes to do all the talking, to find out information, but they act like they're a representative. They act like, oh, they just want to, you know, get with you over coffee and just talk about, you know, things, and hey, why did you break up with such and such, and oh, that's my sister, that's my BFF, and all that kind of stuff, right? But what you begin to realize is that they're a snake, and they're just trying to eavesdrop and get information out of you, see? And also, they want to annoy you with questions to what? Get a reaction. Everything's banked off, everything is set up and stored up for a reaction. Because people, I'll say this. If you was in a situation and your exes were all together, teamed up, and you didn't know, and hey, you met one of them at the most recent one, you met them at a Starbucks, for example, and you didn't know that they were all in the car together. And then they all just ended up coming out the woodworks just because you're alone by yourself explaining what happened. And then boom, you see Yolanda, Brenda, and Suzanne, they're all teamed up. And it's like, yo, yeah. It's like, well, hey, what would you be caught off guard? Would you feel angry because, oh, why are you hanging with my exes? But that's what they want you to do, see? And all I'm saying is, like, just using that as an example, you want to remain calm, even though you notice that, hey, the people have turned totally against you by doing the very thing of which what you felt was happening in the first place. Like, you know how when you're with someone and you say, damn, I don't trust you, or hey, something about you I just don't trust. And then the person ends up like doing the very thing that you knew they were doing the whole time. See, I'm gonna tell you how can you easily like know that? It's because you ever feel uncomfortable around someone and you don't know why. It's like you can feel the undercurrents of like this person's like behavior, and it's like, you know that you don't feel comfortable even being near them, and they haven't even spoke yet. They haven't really said much, but you can feel some type of feeling that's like, you get that vibe where it's like, I don't really trust this person. And when you feel that, pay attention to that, because there's people there's people in life that you should avoid when you feel that, see? Because that's your intuition. When you feel that uneasiness, 9 times out of 10, you're supposed to fully avoid that person, see? Because everybody has a goal, if that makes sense. They have an agenda, and it's intentional. See, but you gotta. That's why the dangerous thing with being in social groups is that you really gotta know who really values you. See, not just not just who talks to you. And then you got to watch out for the ones that are silent as well, because they're still communicating even if they're not saying much. Now, and it's because they're listening. See, the person that talks less is the one you got to watch, because that means that they're actively observing and listening to everyone. See, and you wonder why they sit on information. They're not really so much, sharing much of anything, because they don't want to blow their cover. See, so it's like they just wait. So those, when you observe them, those are the ones you got to avoid. You got to watch out for, because it's like, yeah, every time, like I say, you notice the pattern. You're like, yo, every time people start to, talk, even if it's not drama related, it's always one or two people that don't say nothing. They're always around everybody, but they don't talk. Those are the ones you got to watch out for, because when shit hits the fan, those are the ones that's going to start talking. Is the ones that have been observing everything from the beginning of time. It's like, soon as you guys, and I'm gonna tell you, when you, as a Pisces, you could tell that when you feel the energy shift with people, you could feel that, oh man, you can almost see who you're gonna get into it with, just based off their energy. It's like, you could just look at people and be like, yo, it's just a matter of time. Like, I know I'm going to end up getting into it with this person. I just can feel it. Like, and it starts when you realize something they're doing that you really don't like or you don't agree with. And they might not even want to talk to you. They might ignore you, even though they come around often. If it's a bunch of y'all, it's like, oh, they probably don't even talk to you much. You could probably feel that they ignore you, subtly, to where it's like, okay, I really can feel, because I'm going to tell you, this is why you don't want to react, because your enemies, they make mistakes. They always tell on themselves. They always give you the clue as to, how they really feel about you. But you got to be calm and not so trusty. See, because even if you're a Pisces, you automatically will watch everything. See, you'll be more prone to watching everything than actually just talking, lollygagging with everyone to be, distracted. So that's why I say don't be easy to read. See, be unpredictable. Choose your battles wisely. Like, if you notice something is happening, don't react to it. Like, even if you notice that such and such is acting funny to normal, keep that mental note, but don't say, hey man, Johnny, why are you acting funny? No, don't do that. Just keep that in mind, and keep it filed away, keep a note of it, and just carry on. Because that's what I said, choose your battles, because there's a time that will come that will literally give you the opportunity to, address, or maybe not. Like I say, you want to pick and choose your battles to where you just don't get yourself, thinking that everything deserves your energy, because as soon as you start to talk or share, that's what you're doing. You're exerting energy. Another thing too, everything is based off how others perceive you. See, so like, if you are considered someone that is calm, and people know that, they can observe and see it clearly. Oh, isn't such and such just the most calm, relaxed, confident individual? And it's like, people literally are influenced by how things look, fam. That's why I say there's so many people that are so programmed to tuning in on illusions, man, that they just don't even realize that things are not always how they look or seem to be. Now, that's why I said you want to keep a neutral public image. You don't want to be known for drama or known for any type of messiness, see? Because then it's like you're going to become that number one target. that everybody goes after, because now it becomes a competition. Another thing is, you want to do everything quietly. So you don't want to overshare wins of others that you've conquered, or anything that you've achieved, by telling people how, oh, I got into a fight with this one person and I did this and I ended up, winning the fight. Or don't do that, because as soon as you do these type of things, it's going to trigger other people, see, in such a way where they feel like they have to, top you to have that dominance feeling. Now, so you want to go through a quiet growth process. Now, here's another thing that gets people caught up in like a spider's web, and that is, you need to verify information. This is why you got to be slow and steady. You want to verify the information that you get, because a lot of it could just be rumors. See, and how do we know this to be true? He say, she say. And how much of that information is actual truth, and how much of it is BS, right? So you don't want to filter out something, put all your energy into it, and what if it's just a bunch of rumors and you're just responding to it all? See, so that's why you want to make sure what's what. And like I say, you all don't rely on just one source. Always have more than one option. See, create opportunities for yourself. Just don't depend on one thing just because it seems like it's working at the moment. So that means, like, don't get too comfortable. You want to keep your emotions private. Nobody around you should know how you really feel but you. See, you don't want to share your emotions. You don't want to get into that, because this is what you're doing. When you share your emotions, now it's almost like you give how you feel to someone else. See, to where now they know how you feel and they can control you. So that's why you got to be careful with like trying to get sympathy and trying to like get sympathy from the wrong people. So, and why do I say this? Because you want to control your narrative. See, because when you control your narrative, then you have much more of a higher chance of, controlling outcomes, how things, end, in other words. Now, another thing you want to do is you want to study people's triggers. See, find out what triggers others, because that a lot of people don't pay attention. See, now you see like how the strategy works, because most people, they tend to, snap, crackle, and pop. As soon as something hits the fan, as soon as someone comes at them, they're just quick to like get back, get revenge right away. No, don't do that. Just wait. Just say, okay, wait. I understand the enemy approached me with some mess, but I'm not going to instantly respond just because they did. Nope. See, it's all about the waiting game. See, because that way when you strike, it's going to be much more of an impact than just this person just gets right up, in other words. Now, why I say study people's triggers, because you have to find out what moves them. Everybody has weakness. Every single human being on this earth has a weakness, and some of us have several. But the only way you're going to find that out is by studying them. See, once you study them and you find out what pisses them off, what triggers them, because a certain trigger could be pushed or used, that, hey, now you can find out, oh, I didn't even know you were insecure about that. I didn't even know you had insecurities. Oh, until that person was triggered, now they become defensive in that area where they don't, where they're not healed. So it's like you got to know that, and not just be out here thinking like, oh, everybody's so strong and bold and confident, because not everybody, is. So what you want to do is also, when it comes to escapism, always maintain your exit options. How are you going to get out of a situation clean? Because people always have a way out, bro. Everybody. People always have a way how they're going to cut it, cut the chase, how they're going to get out of a situation. You got to maintain your exit options, because, as I said, alliances don't always last forever. Love. If people love you, guess what? There's a higher chance that the same people that love you can become enemies. See? Because you gotta understand that's a condition, it's emotion. Emotions come and go. Okay, so another thing is through emotional control. You have to master emotional control, such as, pause before replying to anything, emails, text messages, phone calls. Don't always think you got to answer on just because they're calling you. Sometimes when you wait and let it go to voicemail, it shows that you're not desperate. It shows that, hey, I got a life of my own, and that person is not your priority. See, because as soon as they feel like that, and you answer every time they call, and every time you send a text, you text right away, now you have to always know that could be used against you later on. What if you get into it with this person? Now, if you've been conditioned to answering text messages right away, they can set you up, because now they have studied what your time, your availability. Now they know, oh, he'll answer. So if we set him up, he's going to show up. See, because he answers most of the time, and he answers right away. It's not good. What I'm saying out of all of this is you always want to keep people, including your enemies, off balance. See that? They can't be in the knowing of every little move that you do. It must always be up in the air where, hey, man, he might not even respond, because that's going to discourage them from what? Striking, from targeting you. Nobody's going to put all that time and effort if they don't know if you're going to actually do something that they expect you to do. See? Because of that, what if he has friends? What if we are not the only ones that he knows? See? That's why I say, like, and another thing, stay calm under pressure. See? Pressure is energy. See? And it's supposed to be used, and you want to view it as power. See? When you feel pressure, some people feel it, and they end up taking it, and they end up draining themselves by it. They become obsessed. They become bothered. They get anxious because they feel the tension when something is wrong, when something is not flowing in the direction of comfortability. But you got to use that pressure. See, because if you stay calm, now what happens is now you will end up having the composure and authority. Because now under pressure, you're still calm. Most people break when that happens. See, most people lose it when, they feel the slightest of this amount of pressure. See, but you want to do to stand in the fire, even with the fire burning in your eyes, you want to stay calm. See, not let the situation consume you or weigh down on you. What you want to do is stay calm. And here's the thing. As you stay calm under pressure, guess what happened? You become the pressure for someone else. Once you don't let the situation break you, then it's almost like you become the pressure. And you're calm in the chaos. You're calm in the pressure. So therefore, your enemies, they look at you as being more than what you really are. See that? Because now they see the illusion that, oh man, this dude is not even fazed by all this pressure that we throw everything at him, and he's not moved. Like, damn, we ignored him. We ignored him on, hey, last week no one said a word to him. He's still coming to work. He still hasn't called off. See, because actually what? He's doing something that we didn't expect him to do. You see that? You got to always know that when you see the energy shifts, you got to know that, okay, now someone is trying to get me to do something that I don't want to do. See, you notice that when you feel that pressure, you like, yo, there's tension in the workplace. They're trying to push you out. See, because no one, you got to think at that moment of glance, everybody's being a coward. They don't like you, but they feel though, oh, we stop talking to you, we'll ignore you. And they're testing you to see what you'll do. Most people end up bailing and quitting, see, because they can't handle the pressure of sitting at work next to someone or next to a group of people that won't talk to them, or hey, they just leave you. But that's good. If they're not talking to you, go back to work and you do the same thing. You mirror the energy. See, you don't talk to them. And then you clock out and then you do the same thing. But what you don't want to do is quit. See, don't crack. You want to just go back, and go back and watch what happens. See, the people that thought they were really had you, like they really thought they had you pegged down, thought they had you pinned down, only to realize that he hasn't broke. See, he's still coming back, smiling on his face. Because now I'm gonna tell you what shifted. Now you recognize and saw through the game they were playing. See, now you saw through it. You saw the whole objective of which, and see, once you find that out, oh, they don't like that. Now they're the ones calling off. See, because that's the thing. It's the reason why they can't stand you, but you got to stop looking at it like, oh, you're defenseless. They can't stand you because they can't stand your energy. See that? It's too strong. So you have to start looking at yourself as being that of which they can't stand to be around. And that's how you manifest. Because listen, when you start to look at yourself as being powerful and in control, then that's you actually putting a crown on your head to where now you repositioned yourself as though you are in that throne seat. See, to where now as you come around and once you look at yourself for a man, whatsoever a man thinks of himself, that he is like boom. Now you're moving people out the way. See, that can't stand you. And it's like you manifest that. That's why I say you gotta really not let people get to you, because it's all about how you think about what's actually going on. See, it's all about how when you look at things, you could trick yourself into saying to yourself, like, wait a minute, this is all tension and yeah, but hey, I like this. See, I like this. Let the games begin. Hey, what are we doing? Are we gonna war? Let's war then. You must always be ready. See, but here's the thing. Be ready, but do not just snap and just go, because you got to know when to just go for the juggler. See, you got to know when to strike, but it's not always the good to strike when they expect you to, if that makes sense. Let me see. And why I say that, because you don't want to mirror negativity. That's a big no, because you got to hold on to your standard, not theirs. And sometimes if they're showing negativity, let them keep that energy. But you don't let that energy come into you, because now if you feed into it, now they control you. See, accept what you can't control. See, sometimes you gotta just know when to hold them and when to fold them, and know when there's times when you can't control the situation. See, so that's why I say, like, you gotta accept that, and also focus on energy. Focus on energy, because that's what's gonna keep you moving. Use silence as a strategy, because that gives other people less ammo. See, and they don't even really know where to hit you at or what to do, because you're not saying anything. You're not giving them anything to go off of. Because listen, I'm gonna tell you, how do you know this to be true? I'm gonna tell you. Let's say a person is being studied by enemies, right? And let's say there's cameras all around, and this person is sitting in the center, and they can't see each other. The enemies are in the background observing, while the person sitting inside the room is just surrounded by cameras, right? Now, they're looking for noise. They're looking for agitation, nervousness, panic. They're looking for all these different things. But guess what? You're just sitting there, not saying a word, and literally just looking straight. After watching you for about 5 to 10 minutes, who do you think gets uncomfortable? The person that's silent? Nope, the person watching. See? Because they're like, yo, what's going on here? Why am I not hearing what I want to hear? See, that's how you know the expectation has been broken. Oh, now this is pointless. We're wasting our time. Which shows who's in control. The person that's not saying anything. See? Well, hey, I don't have time to sit here and watch this guy, and he's not saying a damn thing. This is not what we did this for. See, now you've ruined their plans because you have held on to the silence. Now you're in control. See, now everybody starts leaving. And once the room is empty, you begin to what? You begin to get the last laugh. See that? And that's why I tell people, like, you have to, that's why I say the Joker energy belongs to Pisces, because listen, it's like when people think you're upset, you smile. See, vice versa, you always keep changing your emotion according to whatever it is that they show you. But it's almost because they go by what they see. They're looking for a reaction. So if I have a smile, what is that going to do? See, that makes the enemy think, wait a minute, he's tickled by what we're doing. It messes up their whole psychological view of you, to where they don't know what to do because they're not getting what they expected. See, and you starve them until you win. See, and once you win, they have nothing else to go off of. See, because people are not prepared when they see you do something different, behave in such a way that they can't understand. See, now the reason why, okay, is to, like I say, don't react to disrespect instantly. Remain calm. Even act like you didn't hear. Hey, I'm sorry. What was that? Act like you didn't hear him. See? Well, it's like having selective hearing in a situation. Like, you heard them, but you basically are making them, you could hear stutters, you could hear all kind of things when you say, hey, wait, what did you say? And ask them to say it again. Do it on purpose. I'm telling you, like, when your enemies, it's like they follow a script. And as soon as you soon as they follow the script, as soon as you say, hey, wait a minute, wait, what was that? Could you repeat yourself? It's like they can't, it's like they choke, because it's like, oh, they wasn't expecting you to challenge them. They wasn't expecting you to even ask them to repeat themselves. See, because their enemies are only focused on one thing, a reaction. See, they're not even factoring in, to be asked a question while asking a question. See, you got to know how to, like, maneuver around people when they do things, and then you hit them in an angle that they're not even expecting, to where it throws them off and they lose their whole trail of mind of the focus to begin with. See, and now we call that mind control, because it's easy for a person to, I'm going to tell you the truth. It's easy for you to get in the enemy's head. See, because look, they already focused their energy on you. And little do they know, they already messed up right there. See, remember I said, be careful what you focus on, because the illusion is too strong. And if you put all your energy into what you see, then you magnify that of which you have set your eyes upon. And now that person controls you. If you believe it or not, that person controls you. How do we know this to be true? Television. Oh, you watch that show every day. You saw that show. Oh, that's my favorite show. I gotta get up in the morning. I watch it before I go to work. I watch it when I get off work. That show is controlling you, because now you make sure you don't miss no episodes. That's why I say be careful what you're channeling into, because that can control you. Especially when you get pissed off that you missed it. Your enemies do the same thing. Oh man, you know how Ricky lost his job on Friday. The enemy gets whiff, and he was maybe out with his girlfriend in the Bahamas, or on a trip. What? Wait, Ricky, wait a minute. What did I just hear? Ricky lost his job. Oh my effing God. What the? And I missed that? Come on, bro. That's how your enemies be reacting. They be treating it like a show that they missed. Oh, I missed the damn. How the hell what the hell? I missed the damn NFL game. What the hell is going on? Like, I missed the whole championship game. That's how they be acting, man. It really put it like this. They really get a kick out of when you actually lose. Something happens to you. See, it's like, because I'm gonna tell you what they feel is energy. See, They soak in the energy, and this is why they're attacking you, because they're addicted to your energy. That's why you feel the pressure. That's what the tension is all along. Is your listen, it's the tension of these people are addicted to you. See? And you do not put it like this. You don't associate yourself with them anymore. See? You don't give them any energy. So if they get a little nugget, a little tiny little blueberry popping from a Derby McFlurry, then hey, they're gonna be treating that like a squirrel with a nut, a squirrel with a pecan. See? They're gonna go grab that, run up a damn tree, and be like, oh shit. You know, because they realize like, yo, this came from such and such. I don't get this often. So that's how they be wanting, that's how they behave when they want your energy, when they basically, hear something bad or they get a little piece of it, of a situation, basically related to your demise. Now, always keep your responses simple, because like I say, that beats the whole drama. And like, you really gotta, if you, I ain't gonna sit here and say like I'm perfect, because I know I'm not. But like, I gotta get another drink. I'm in my bag. But yeah, one of these. But yeah, what I was gonna say is like, it takes a while to condition your mind, your brain to actually, have the self-control. Because and I'm gonna say it's easy once you become spiritually awakened. It's not gonna be like something that you get right away, but it's like as soon as you start to open your eyes about it, then you start realizing that this is actually easy. And you might say to yourself, I never knew this, but that's the thing. Now here's the thing. Me saying that, if you feel like you're gonna snap, okay? If you feel like you're gonna lose it, let's say you're just heated, which we all do. We all get heated. That's when you want to reset. Walk away from the situation, leave, excuse yourself, go on break early, and allow yourself to reset instead of sitting there and then exploding in front of your enemy and giving them exactly what they wanted in the first place. Now, another thing you want to do is you want to learn from your setbacks, the things that, may have happened, the things you've learned from. You want to do this fast, okay? So that way you can refrain from it, because it's like, once you do that, that allows you to not even be sucked into your setbacks. And you don't want to think about the past and what happened last time and what I said. No, you just want to refrain from it, reframe those setbacks. That way you learn from those lessons quickly. Then that allows you to heal. Then and then say, it makes you more strategic afterwards by doing so. Okay. Protect your peace daily, because routines matter, and that also factors into how fast you heal from a situation. Boundaries and communication. You want to set limits early, and that's going to prevent a situation from escalating. And also say no instead of over explaining things, because when you over explain things, it just shows like you're not firm, and then people start to disrespect you. So it's only respect for yourself to do so. Don't reward bad behavior. Stay consistent with this as well. Another thing, address issues privately first. Don't address issues publicly, because that's going to attract more enemies. See, because people always are not going to agree with you. And as soon as you openly discover another person that doesn't agree with your frame of thought, your decisions, you just created another enemy. But it's not your fault. It's just, what I'm saying is basically to not create more enemies. Just don't discuss issues openly. See? And basically, when you do this, you reduce the whole public conflict. Okay, so also just Don't engage in gossip. Now that's another one that's pretty much like a big, it's something that happens often. Just don't engage in it, because as soon as you engage in it, you start to ruin your reputation. See, the people look at it by how they see it. Well, hey, you hang with Suzanne or Karen, and they know Karen runs her mouth and she's very messy, and they see you sitting there with Karen just having a talk. You might not even be talking about gossip, but because you're hanging with her, your reputation is at risk. See that? That's why you got to be careful, like in the workplace, when you know knowingly that there's certain people that have those reputations. You sitting with them, people are going to treat you just like Karen, even if you ain't even if you haven't partaken in any of the things that Karen has done. But just by how it looks, it's giving that illusion. See, so that's why you want to protect your reputation. You also want to clarify expectations and avoid assumptions, because a lot of times you can assume things about people that they haven't even like confirmed. See, and it's like, as soon as I'm gonna tell you now, I'm guilty of this one, because like sometimes your enemies are not like the enemies that you've dealt with. So sometimes you think they're the same, and you identify the behavior as being the same, but sometimes that could be an assumption. Now, when you move forward and let's say someone does something that reminds you of someone from the past, that's not always so. So you gotta just know, like, don't do it like that, okay? Also, follow through on consequences with others. Someone does something, hold them accountable. Don't let it slide, because that's going to increase your credibility, and knowing that you're not going to just let people walk all over you. Don't mix signals. Be very clear. And another thing too, okay, when I said to be able to have control of the outcomes, is that whenever you go through a situation that's let me say let's say it's a heated discussion between you and others, always resolve it. Always come to a solution. See, that way, when you do this, you control the outcome. So it's like, yeah, people are fighting. There's a heated discussion between everyone. Be quick to resolve it. Then boom, as soon as you resolve it, okay, we're moving forward. We got past that. Moving forward. Now the outcome, okay, such made peace with such and such. Don't just let stuff just be like a mess, even though you're right there, see, in the moment. Now, another thing is don't negotiate against yourself. You always want to make sure the negotiations that you make are the ones that allow you to hold your value. Make sure it benefits you, because a lot of times people don't, and it ends up working against you. Now, if you realize you're in a situation where the conversation is going nowhere, you've realized you've exhausted your options or whatnot, then just know that it's time to end the whole conversation. See, because time is currency, is valuable. Now, another thing is if people are disrespectful, don't talk to them. It's pointless. You cannot reason with a fool. And when people, another thing that keeps the conflict down is don't discuss personal business with business, topics or a discussion, because like I say, a lot of times that's how things get started. As soon as you start trying to mix business with pleasure or business with personal things, you got to separate them. Now, always keep your integrity, okay? Make sure your words match your actions. Another thing is keep your boundaries consistent, and don't make those exceptions, because they can harm you. They can, end up backfiring. Don't set a boundary that you know can hurt you later, if that makes sense. Like, that's why I say you got to make sure it benefits you, but don't set a boundary that can actually end up, messing up your situation, end up harming you out of, out of it all or whatnot. So, another thing too is that you gotta hold your firmness, respect firmness within yourself. Be polite, but don't be permissive, and choose clarity over being liked. Make sure that's how you get the long-term victory. That's how you get the long-term win in the situation, is by choosing clarity over being liked. Now, going to that strategy and that leverage of which y'all speaking about is always build multiple options. See, and it's an abundance. Why? Because this is going to give you the power, plus it's going to allow you to have choices to make. See, now when you're reluctant and you're just stuck to that one option and it doesn't work, now you're alone. And that is what you want to avoid, is to be alone, because as I mentioned, it shows vulnerability, and most people that observe it is going to give off that illusion of weakness. Now, you want to control your schedule, so that's going to protect your focus. You want to focus on like high impact moves, and that's going to allow you to at least do that 80% of the time. Do the 80-20 rule regarding that. Stay informed, not overwhelmed. And that's the thing. That's why I said control how you perceive the situation, even if you feel pressure behind it. Sometimes, I'm going to tell you, sometimes that of what you feel is not always what is currently happening, if that makes sense. It's not always a bad thing just because you feel pressure or just because you feel tension. It's like that's okay for you to feel tension, because you need that. Let's say like something feels difficult. Let's say you're studying for a ACT or some type of test that you need to pass to become a CNA or a doctor or whatever it may be. It might be, just the thought of it might be overwhelming. You might feel like, damn, this is really stressing me, or you feeling anxious. But that doesn't mean that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. That doesn't mean that it's bad or, hey, I should stop. Like, no. So that's why I say pressure is good. Some pressure is good, and don't think it's always a bad thing. Let me see. You want to use timing wisely, because like I say, you want to act when it matters the most. Keep a low profile. Keep a low profile, okay, during growth, okay? Move quietly. Even if you got wins, hey, celebrate. It's okay to celebrate those wins quietly. You don't always have to tell people, you don't always have to clap just because you do something. It's just like, you got to know that, okay, I won, but that was a silent win. Okay, cool. But just use it as a strategy. You got to always do everything as a strategy. See, don't show all your cards. That's what I mean by, keeping things a mystery to yourself, because as soon as people find out what you're up to, they can actually become an enemy. See, they can work against you. Opposition is the enemy. So it doesn't matter. People think that the enemy is a certain type of person, but what they fail to realize is that the enemy is against you. See that? Anything that works against you is the enemy. So if you like peace if you like peace, and hey, whatever you're up against doesn't like it, they're going to be your enemy. They just come in different forms. So it's all related to energy and its output, and people that don't want your energy in their environment, they work against you. So what do we call this? Opposition. So that's the best way to understand it, so that way you're not like in fear about an enemy in itself. Now, because you understand, an enemy is someone that disagrees. See, and it's not an opinion. It's more like they just disagree with you, period. Everything you say is like they don't accept it, to where they want to take up more space with their energy over yours. So it's like, instead of them listening to you, they want you to listen to them. That's how you know it's opposition. See, because they're trying to exert its dominance over you. Now, instead of, equilibrium, like to keep things balanced and fair between the two of you, and negotiation and, compromise where it matters for the both of you to benefit, if they're just like totally against it and not even trying to work with you, enemy. See, now you always want to learn from your mistakes quickly. Don't take too long to learn from them. So that way, like I say, you could just have that whole hold on. So that way you could just have that whole yeah, you could just iterate it. You just had that whole situation down before. See, I'm gonna tell you why, because as soon as you take too long to bounce back, then now that's a wound, or that's like an open spot. It's like a wound of vulnerability open there. So the enemy could literally come across that and literally get you in those areas where you're not strong, to where you don't want to leave nothing out. See, now, so learn from your mistakes quickly. Keep your emotions out of decisions. This is a big one, because sometimes when you make a decision, you might tend to put your emotions all over it, to where when you have to make a decision and there's people present, do not put any emotions into the decision. Even if you feel some type of way, given it, it's like, once you make decisions, take the emotions out. Keep those put away for safekeep, but not for everybody else to know and feel them. Now, that's why I said you want to use data. You want to use information, not emotions. See? So you only use information when you make decisions, not emotions. Just got to replace it. Now, also protect critical information, as I mentioned, especially if it could work against you. You don't never want to just give it out and give it out to everybody, because everybody don't need to know what is the whole basis of everything, because as soon as you give away that type of information, it could be used against you later. See, you also want to diversify your income, your skills, and everything that you know that you are capable of, because sometimes when it comes to just you being resilient, in the first place, you should never tell someone like everything that you know how to do well and whatnot, because think about it. If your enemy is listening to that, they're gonna do the opposite. See, they're gonna make sure that your skills are not needed. They're gonna challenge you in areas where they know, okay, you're whatever you may have not mentioned. In other words, see, and this is not for you to be paranoid. This is for you to be aware, highly aware of how the world works, and knowing that everybody is not on your side as you think they are. Just because they're smiling in your face, following you around, joining you to different things, just know that at any moment it can change on a dime. This person can literally walk away at any time. But as long as they are around, you just use it for what, let's say, okay, well, hey, they're here now. Then you just, use it as a tool. But don't get into the mindset of thinking that we're friends and we're, thinking it's much more than what it is, because it's not a guarantee. So just use it as a tool. Okay, so another thing is let the results speak, as I mentioned. No noise is needed when you win. See, you just keep in a diary of, okay, I won this and that, accomplished this goal, got through with this, persevered through this. Silence, 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 silence. See, you got to literally celebrate your own wins. You can't just be like broadcasting them like, yo, got a new car. Because I know a lady, I'm going to tell you a true story really quick. A lady, she was an Aquarius, right? She was an older lady. And she thought it was okay to broadcast the fact that she bought a new vehicle, right? And she said, oh, my car is the best car, whoopty whoopty woo. I think it was like a Outback. It was not a, it was like a Volkswagen, some type of, I can't remember what kind it was. I think it was an Outback or some type of Volkswagen type of vehicle, right? And then she broadcasted it, brought that whole credit. She brought that, her win or anything she accomplished, she brought it to work, which is a big no-no, right? And then all of a sudden, she got fired. She got fired. And she just told everyone she just got this new car and got the note. And, you know, her note was only like, what, cheap. It was like $200 or something like that. And she got fired. And she, like, soon after that, maybe a week later, she got fired. Just people hear your plans, your wins, and they literally, especially if they have the access to literally press one button and you're done. It's just like, as soon as they hear something, you could be their best friend, their best worker, their best colleague, their favorite one, right? And be gone just like that, just because you put them up on your wins, your goals and shit that you were trying to do, and they get whiff about it. Oh, you're trying to buy a house? You bring that information to school. I mean, I said, yeah, it could be school. You bring that information to your job. Oh, he's saving up to get a home, and yeah, he needs the hours. Guess what? They end up working against you. And guess what? It's not even about just jealousy. Sometimes just because people are in the power, just because people have the authority to press one button and have you gone, people flex. They'll flex on you. Oh, you're saving up for a house? Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. It's nothing like buying a home. Yeah. And guess what? And because I can literally take that from you and ruin it, they just sabotage. Boom. Well, it won't be on my watch. See, you created an enemy out of telling your business, telling, oh yeah, I'm saving up for this. So more of the story is, don't tell people what you're trying to do. Just get the hours and that's it. Don't tell people, oh yeah, I need the hours for this or that. Because 9 times out of 10, they will sabotage. See, just because they feel they can. See, and I know what you're thinking. Oh, that person's a scumbag. Oh, they're the a-hole. Not necessarily. Some people they just work against you. That's it. If you really think of it just that, it makes the whole enemy diluted. It's like they're not as strong or scary as it sounds. It's like, oh, I was just talking too much, and then someone decided to work against me. That's it. And that's the best. See, that's what you want to visualize your enemy as being this small. See, being surrounded by enemies, okay, means what? Opportunities. When I change my mindset, now everything that looks scary is small. See, now everything that, oh, it looks so big and all this and that, and hey, I'm surrounded. Nope, you're not surrounded. You're surrounded by opportunities. So take them as such, see? And when you take them as such, now, this is how you get information, by staying quiet. By you staying quiet, people make mistakes. They tell on themselves. They tell you stuff that they probably wouldn't have told you had you been quiet and calm. Because you're not just calm, you're observing. And see, by you being observant, now people are telling on themselves because they're not getting a reaction. So people become desperate. Well, that's why I know you. See, little did you know, I've been knowing your wife for quite some time. You didn't even know. And by you not giving them a reaction, now they're telling more secrets. That was the opportunity right there. Now they didn't told on themselves. You didn't even have to do nothing. You didn't have to ask, figure out nothing. They said it themselves. See? That's what you got to do. And then you end up finding out who knows who knows what, who was the ringleader, who was the gossiper, who was the one that did this and that and that. And then when you walk away from the situation, which usually they walk away from you first, they realize, okay, no reaction. We're gone. We're done here. See? Now, what you want to do is, like I say, you just want to master. You got to have that self-mastery. That's very important, because this is what wins the war. Habits. See? Routines. That's why you got to have this down pat. Be calm, observant, pay attention to the patterns of behavior, not the words. See, not just the words, because the words is what blinds you. The words is what you end up trusting. Then you give people more credit than they deserve. You can't give people that benefit of the doubt. See, you can't do that. Now, what you want to do by building that daily discipline, because that, like I say, habits win. Train your body. Pray, meditate. You can do yoga, because you have to control your energy first. See, if you control your energy, then that allows you to what? That allows you to control your confidence. To approach the enemy and not break is confidence. See, confidence is when you go into a situation that normally people would be afraid to do, but you being brave, you go before the enemy. It's like going before the judge. And guess what? No reaction. That's confidence. Now, you have to guard your time, because that's the thing. Let me tell you, what is more, I say this, as drama approaches you, or as heated as it may sound, it's so easy for you to feel like you have to get involved, like you got to do the back and forth with people, the argument back and forth. But you can't reason with a fool. You can't reason with somebody that is against you. See, so that's why I say, like, you want to guard your time, prioritize your time. See, don't give them no reaction, no replies to anything that they're saying to you, because it's just words. Pay attention to their actions. Now, what you want to do as well to work on your focus is you want to read. See, this is how you condition yourself, train yourself to focus on what's in front of you when you start to what? Hey, have quiet time, read. See, you want to read, and then that's how you end up learning continuously, by being quiet and reading. If you focus on reading and being quiet, this is how you're able to what? Pay attention. You can do the same with enemies. You're reading in the room, you're staying quiet, and you're finding out everything. It's cold-blooded, see? And it takes for you to be still and quiet for you to be able to perceive and be able to understand everything that you're seeing, see, as you read it. So that's the metaphor and the analogy. That's the best way to do it, see? Because a lot of people don't do that, and they miss everything. Now, another thing, by reading and staying quiet, what this also does is gives you a clear vision of what's going on, see? And that gives you direction. Now you know where to strike. You know, you can cut the chase and get through all the BS or whatever is not important. So you get right to the target, get right to the point. And also, don't put it like this. Don't compare yourself to others. See, especially because you're going to lose focus if you do so. Another thing is be comfortable being alone, because, hey, it's going to take a certain level of independence here. Be comfortable being alone. And hey, and this is the thing, if you are comfortable being alone, it's not saying you got to be a loner. It just means that, hey, if I was to be alone for a couple of days, couple months, couple years, hey, I can have friends to hang out with on Fridays and still be alone and have that independence. But you need that, because you can't possibly be around people 24/7, because now it can alter your focus. Control what you consume, because like I say, the input, it shapes the output. So you want to make sure you don't become consumed by something, because like I say, it'll control you. Put it like this, everything that you put time into, it shapes the output. See, another thing too, build routines that stabilize you, and just stay consistent and reflect regularly every day. You could put, like I say, words of affirmation around your room. And it's what keeps you, this is what keeps you correct. See, it keeps you solid, in other words. And here's the big one. Do not let your ego make decisions. Like when you have lost it and you feel like you have nothing left, do not let the ego take the wheel, fam, because you're going to end up crashing. As soon as your ego takes the wheel, guess what you lose? Not just the battle, but now you lose clarity. See, clarity is way more important. Clarity is way more important than knowledge. Because how can you know what's right if you know the way you perceive things is off? So that's why I say you don't want to jeopardize the clarity, especially having worked so hard to obtain it through focusing. Focusing your energy in the right direction for it. Keep your promises to yourself. And like I say, that's what your promises are always for you, not for the other person. So you say, I promise to do this. That's for you to know, not for them. Okay. So, and why I say that is because you want to have self-trust first. Self-trust, make promises to yourself. Another thing is protect your name. That also protects your reputation. Why? Because there's value there. You don't put yourself in situations, have your name all smeared across like all different types of, bad behavior, bad this, bad that, bad whatever. Stay adaptable. See, because if you're able to adjust fast, that keeps you from being what? An easy target. And here's the thing, be okay walking away from a situation. This is how you maintain power. When you are in a situation, sometimes it's referred to as a joke. People joke about this, but it's the truth, is that at any time you can literally leave. This is like, you guys want to argue? Guess what I could do? I could just leave. See? Take your energy away. Just that quick. Oh, you guys don't like, you guys want to act funny? Okay, guess what? I'll just leave. People, when you do that, you take your power away. They can't control you at that point. So like I say, be okay walking away. Don't feel like you got to sit there and just take it. Just like, people are talking to you crazy. You don't have to sit there and take that. You can leave. You're with someone and they don't, let's say they're arguing with you about the relationship. You can always leave. They're not trying to hear what you got to say. So that's the best way to handle it. And let's say you get a provoking message, okay? And all of a sudden you end up waiting, see, in the situation. What you want to do is you want to reply like a short sentence or something. You don't want to start flooding, people typing a huge message and showing that, they're upset when they, put a big paragraph down. But I'm going to tell you what to do instead. Instead of replying with that little message, don't reply with, don't even say nothing. That's the best thing to do. When somebody starts to write some bull crap in a text or, wherever, email, and it's provoking, don't reply. See? Because listen, when you don't reply, they lose leverage. The whole strategy, what your enemy is trying to do is get a reaction. See? Whether that be a loud outburst, and like I say, it will be emotional if you snap. And that's what they want. They want you to lose control so that they win at pissing you off, bringing you down. See? Ruining your day. Also be aware of two people, where we call this the triangle situation, where two people are, pulling your attention towards them. Like I say, when this happens, set the boundary. Pull away. Because like I say, that's why you gotta be careful. If there's two people and they're up to something, they're trying to get you to do something, and you don't agree with it, set that boundary and pull away. See? Because a lot of times they try to force you into decisions that you don't want to make right away. So just always know that go by the facts and document the facts of the situation, and don't feed into the drama of which they give, because that's what they want you to do, and it robs you of the clarity that you need. And also too, be careful with jealousy. See, with jealousy is like they can mention others to you. See, just to see how you feel or what you say, what based on how you react to them mentioning others. But don't, like I say, don't react. Keep that standard to yourself and keep your routine, because why? As they do this to you by mentioning other people, remember I said the leverage, they're already trying to establish the leverage over you by, doing the other things I mentioned. So when they're jealous, they're going to start mentioning people. Oh, but look, you did the same thing to Joey. Oh, yeah. You got to watch out for this guy. They never come alone. See, you ever notice is your enemies, your opposition is never alone. They never do anything alone. It's always them mentioning other people and them coming with other people. See, and then they think they know you. They try to tell you all these like false allegations and like assumptions of who you are, and you're, trying to ruin your reputation. But like I say, you just want to make sure as they do this, don't respond. And then that makes the test of which they were, using against you, it makes them what? It makes them fail. So, like I say, you don't need to fight everybody around you just because you normally know they are enemies. Like I say, just control your mind, your moves, and your direction. See? And then once you're able to do this, once you're able to do this, you will realize that, hey, the quietest player often wins. See? Because if you don't, the whole key here is that you don't let people know your moves when you stay quiet. See? Imagine the person that, imagine playing cards or playing, a game of dominoes, and you literally is the quietest person, always has the best hand. It's like they don't really tell you that they have the best hand until you realize you've lost already. You ever notice, like, as soon as you're about to play cards, you ever notice the person shuffling or the person that's quiet, that's really not saying much? They don't want to attract no attention to themselves. And then 9 times out of 10, they always end up winning. It's like, oh, you were sitting on that joker, that ace, and damn, you had a whole bunch of books ready, and here you are just quiet, playing alone. Everybody else loud mouthing and talking and everything. It's like, oh, we wonder why you won. And it always seems like that. So if you apply that analogy to opposition, the person that's not telling you everything is always the one 10 steps ahead. Because listen, it's not, even when you hone in on information, you find out secrets, you sit on them. You don't tell people what you know. Oh, such and such is getting a divorce. And you keep it to yourself. You say, okay, well, you paid attention to the undercurrents. Why? Because you were reading the whole time in silence. So that's why I'm telling you guys the metaphor, because when you go into a library, right, you're able to focus and you're able to control your energy and you're able to absorb and you're able to adapt because the environment's quiet. So you notice, even while you're locked into that book you're reading, you notice even people either talking too loud, noise in the room, because it's that quiet. You know who's talking too loud or who's shuffling or moving, whatever they're doing. But you pick up on it. You pick up on everything as you begin to read. As you begin to read the room, you read what's you read what's in your environment. You read the book. The book is everything that's moving. See? And that's how you're able to stay 10 steps ahead when you're surrounded by enemies. You're like, wait a minute. I can really do something different. I can really find out something right now. Now that all my enemies are all together. See? Because you gotta understand, if they're all together and loud mouthing and doing all this, now you're able to see clearly who are what, the characters, their behaviors, and now you see their weaknesses and who's doing what just by you reading the book. See? and you get all that information and you sitting there smiling to yourself because you actually see through everything. You see through all the illusions that you're like, interesting. And then you close the book and you walk away. And who loses? They lose because they never got what? They never knew who the author was. So like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll catch y'all tonight. What's going on, Palace A and Dizzy? Welcome y'all. I'll try to do a part 2 to this tonight within like an hour. So join in if you're able to. Thanks for watching, y'all. Love y'all. Catch y'all next one. Peace out.